No idea why we're having such technical difficulties today. I think that, the enemy wants to keep our young boys and men from hearing this powerful message that we have tonight and wants to keep you parents from not hearing it. So we're not going to let these little difficulties stop us, because this is a great message with a great panel, and we're going to share tonight. Okay, so I see people coming back on. I'm going to just let everyone know. Come on back. We have a great show. I don't want them to miss anything. All right, people are coming back. Antoine, let's try your mic. Are you on mute?
Yeah, Antoine, you might be on mute. Oh, you're not on mute?
Oh my goodness. Now we don't hear you at all. Can you do it from, are you on your laptop? Can you do it from your phone? All right, we're still on. Okay. People are back. Let's see. Okay.
Would you like me to continue sharing, Dr. Donna?
Yeah, let's go. Go ahead, Robert. So, so keep talking. Sorry about that. I hope I didn't mess up your train of thought.
You're perfectly fine.
Okay, let's go ahead and keep talking about, you were on talking about parents and how your father raised his father and his father is raising you. So go ahead and continue with that.
So with what I was saying, with the suck it up syndrome, it's generational. It is literally generational trauma that young men have faced and still face today. But what I combat at, and I will be in layman's terms, like I combat it. I literally tell these young men, hey, you were taught this certain way, but now it's time to learn a new set of skills, and it's time to learn a new way of thinking.
Yes.
You don't have to bottle up your emotions. You don't have to feel like you don't have to feel scared about being vulnerable. You just have to be around the right people who actually care about you, who actually care about, your emotions, the way you feel. And whether that be family members or, an external support system. For me, it wasn't really my family. My family kind of was in and out of my life, and that, me sharing a little bit about myself. What really strengthened my bond was a community-based organization. And this is a little personal again, I was going down at 13 years old for double attempted homicide, and that was hanging around the wrong crowd. And I've never been so scared in my life, but I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know where my emotions were. I was 13. So why would a 13-year-old be put in a position to fight for his life? That you should never hear of that.
Right.
So what my mom did was she grabbed me by the ear, and I'll be honest, she grabbed me by the ear and she took me to a community-based organization. And once we did that, I kind of ran with it. I found a great support system. I found amazing friends who I still talk to till this day. I was making money. That was another big thing. I was making money and bringing it back home and feeling like I was succeeding, feeling like I was a success. As you talked about triumphs, I felt triumphant in knowing that I didn't feel like a failure.
Right.
So I try to instill everything that I've learned throughout my life and all personal experiences to the young men that I service. Because one thing's for sure, and my previous mentor, who was also my principal, each one teach one.
Yeah.
If you learn a set of skills, if you learn how to pivot and maneuver in this life, give that to someone else who can use the help.
Yes.
And KJ is a perfect example of it. So I will
Mhm.
release my talking, and I
Okay.
will hand it right over to KJ.
Okay, great. KJ, before you start, there's just a couple of things. Robert, that was so amazing. Your story is amazing. And I want to just highlight a couple of things because I know we were in and out, and I want to make sure people heard just a couple of things that you said. So one of the things that you said was that it was at 13, you were almost caught up in the criminal justice system. You almost went to prison, right?
Yep.
And what happened was that your mother brought you to an organization where there were other men around.
Yep.
And I think that's important for single mothers to hear, is that if you don't have, if there's not a father figure in the household, that's fine. Let's try to find other father figures for your young boy in other organizations that might be around. The second thing that you said was teaching young boys how to have the whole gamut of emotions, right? Because as humans, we are emotional human beings. We don't just have sadness and anger. Those aren't the only emotions. We have a range of emotions in between. And if you want someone to really be whole, they have to be able to be free to express the wholeness of emotions, the whole spectrum of emotions: sadness, disappointment, fear, anxiety, anger, all of the emotions together. So I just wanted to underline those two things. And I thank you for your story, Robert. Now, KJ, let's hear from you. What are some of the challenges that you see with the young men that you work with? And also, you can share a little bit about your upbringing and what you teach your young men that you work with.
No problem. So, this might be kind of like a cheat, say, I'm sorry,
That's
pronounce it
okay.
right. Um, but like you were saying with the senior mothers, I feel like a lot of youth don't have that figure in their lives, that role model. For myself, I didn't have a dad when I grew up, so my mom and my grandma kind of pulled the weight, and I definitely appreciate that. But it's like a lot of kids, they need to learn how to redirect their energy into something positive because the energy is being directed in the wrong directions. So
Yeah,
it's definitely a lot of negativity, and it starts with like social media. It starts with the music that we listen to every day, and just being growing up, just seeing my peers and just knowing that the the streets has a big impact through the music. I'm gonna just be real, like through the music, like the music is a big impactful thing that I feel like is a challenge with young men because we listen to the music and then we try to live vicariously through the music. So just having an outlet to redirect your energy to, because a lot of young men in Oakland deal with abuse, and like Robert was saying, we got the suck it up syndrome, and all that abuse that we go through and all that anger we got inside, we don't have an outlet. We don't go to therapy, and it's like a lot of people need therapy that we don't. They're not diagnosed with it. They're not diagnosed with any condition, but we need therapy. We need that support and that outlet to redirect our energy. So yeah, it's just a thing where we just need to focus and channel all that negativity inside ourselves and try to find a positive outlook. That makes
that's
sense.
great. Thank you. Thank you to both of you. Um, I want to ask, we talk of the show, and the theme of this Black Boy Joy series is not just challenges, but triumphs. The three of you are triumphs and success stories. What do you think, and Robert, you shared a little bit about what you think were helped you to be triumphant as you're growing up, but what do you think there's some tips, some things that parents can do, community members can do to help our young Black boys have some successes? So, Antoine, we're going to try you again, man. We're going to get you in this show. Come on, let's see. Go ahead and say something. Let's see if we can hear you.
I'm on my phone now, so hopefully this is working. Is it working?
I can hear
Tell
you.
me. crowd community. Can y'all hear me? Is this phone thing
Yes,
working?
let's get some feedback. Can you guys hear Antoine? Give me a thumbs up or a heart if you can hear Antoine.
Hopefully the phone is working. Yes, it
Yes,
says yes.
yes.
Finally,
Thank
I
you,
am.
Sanji. Yes.
They coach put me in. I am here now.
All right, you are in, Antoine. Yes,
Wow.
and we got thumbs up. Okay, so let's hear from you. Let's because I want people to understand what is a violence interrupter and what do you do in your Oakland Violence Prevention Project. Tell me about those.
Okay, so a violence interrupter is someone that back interjects when situations are happening, um, helps with families as far as with resources. You may have victims that may have been shot, and we connect with them to try to get them the resources and may in any capacity, neighbors may be around that have witnessed the situation that may need therapy or any type of situation as far as traumas to be able to uh, help them move forward. Mediating certain situations, hence interrupting to prevent further escalations of harm that's taking place. Um, and that doesn't just deal with shootings. That's also um, relationship violence that takes place within the homes, any type of situation of harm taking place in the community. We can be called out. We can show up to situations and try to mediate and prevent further escalations and get connect with any kind of resources to help them in their situations to from it going further. So
Okay,
that's what that's what a violence interrupter is, as far as the violence prevention coalition project that we've been working for. I've been working with for 6 years, about 6 years now, and we've been working hard towards the mandates of working closely and advocating and getting community buy-in as far as the people of the community, the neighbors and everything, to where we can connect in any way in addressing domestic violence, gender-based violence, gun violence, and also with our families, our mothers that's losing, a lot of their children, a lot of loved ones, as far as advocating um, towards working on those cold cases of to try to figure out what's going on. How can we, help the moms in their situations, or how can we address what's going on as far as the policing and their investigations on that aspect. But now it kind of gets complicated because in a lot of ways, though my coalition may do a lot of work and a lot of those things, I personally may not be able to, only because of my job title and my position, because I don't, as a violence interrupter, work with law enforcement. I work directly with the families, and so I also have to build up that credibility and trust with the community of saying I'm working solely with the families, and connecting them with the resources needed, and also trying to resolve situations before before someone may have to go to jail, or before a situation may happen. So if it's a shooting, how can we resolve this conflict and mediate it and prevent further escalation before someone has to go down?
right.
Um, so in multiple ways of addressing harm and that's taking place in the community, I try to sit at as many tables as I can to be a voice and bring the community's voice into those tables to really uplift in those efforts.
Great. Now I'm going to stick with you, Antoine, just for another question, which is what are some of the challenges that you're seeing our young men facing as you're trying to prevent violence from happening? What are some of the challenges that you're seeing?
It's crazy because I was listening to the brothers that was speaking, and it was powerful what was being said. Uh, and I just want to say, hopefully things didn't come off. It looks like everybody come. But I think what everyone is saying is very true. Education is an amazing, a key component to everything. I think a huge problem is, we're in an era of social media, where everyone is seeing the things that they desire, but don't know how to get those things they desire. We have, um, we have our the parents that are in the households and that are working and doing everything that they can in order to provide for their household. But those kids, as they're evolving and getting older, don't really aren't really getting a lot of the basic fundamentals that they need to be able to take off and do them on their own, while having um, the interactions that they're having with the community and the schools that they're having. So as they're beefing and feeling they have to try to get away, they don't even know how they're going to get away, or even when they become of age, having those basic fundamentals, which takes away a lot of trust and things within their households, within those that are, in a lot of ways, it's like a lot of our elders are given more instruction instead of, I feel they're feeling it's more instructional instead of supporting and understanding. Like when that may be first before the instruction,
Right.
and which loses a lot of the youth when it's like I don't even want to hear anything you have to say anymore, and
Right.
until we learn how to deliver the message in another way, and then they may come back, but sometimes it's too late.
Yeah.
And that's currently our current situation, and a lot of youth that I tend to work with, troubled youth and different things like that. Like when I deliver certain things in a way of not just saying, like, I can hear their problems and them say, and I just say, I try to deliver it like this may be why these things are happening, or have to go in this process. Then they be like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it wasn't originally delivered in a way for them to understand the breakdown of it, so that they can say it makes sense for themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's currently a lot of what has us in the positions that we're in now. Is they already shut down them the elders that they already shut them out. So it's like I'm gonna just figure it out on my own, and it is what it is.
Yeah, you're saying something really good, Antoine, and I'm going to ask Robert and KJ to weigh in on this as well, which is, a part of the goal of having this series is not just to talk about the challenges, but also to show triumphs, which the three of you are, but also the advocacy piece. So really, I have a 10-year-old son. So as I'm raising my 10-year-old son to be a teenager and then a young adult, what are some of the, suggestions or tips that you have for parents and the community members to sort of help raise up our young boys? And Antoine, you just gave a great one, which is the way we deliver messages, right? These kids are different than how we grew up, right? So you can't just say, I remember everyone can probably relate to your parents saying, well, why? And you say, because I said so, right? Like that didn't work then, and it certainly doesn't work now. So Robert and KJ, I want you to weigh in on some tips that you have to share with how can we help and advocate for our young boys and help keep them on the right path or steer them back onto the right path. And KJ, I'll let you go first, and then Robert.
Okay, so this might be another cliche, but I feel like a key thing that is important with helping our young boys is love. Honestly, because like having that love and support, and like you said, you got to cater to everybody because everybody is different. And I feel like just letting your child be themselves, like be free and open with them, and just let them express themselves how they express themselves, because a lot of the times we don't know how to express ourselves or communicate with our parents. Like, for example, me and my mom had a really hard relationship because of our communication. So I know she loves me, but it's just like the communication, like the delivery of the message is one out one ear and out the other. So it's like I definitely feel like the love is needed, the support is needed, the way you communicate is definitely important, and yeah, that's kind of what I have.
So communication, how you communicate with your child, and showing love and support for whatever their interests are. That's really good, KJ. Thank you. Robert.
Now, to piggyback off of KJ, it does involve love and support, but it also involves kind of steering them in the right direction, meaning having again that supports, like if a child comes to you and you kind of give them the, oh, because I'm your parent, because you're supposed to listen to me. That didn't work on me now, or it didn't work on me back then. It certainly doesn't work on me now. I had to build a support system who I would want to listen to. Uh,
Hmm.
I had to find those people, and it took a very long time to find them. But when I found them, I felt so supported in a way that is unfathomable, because once a young person finds that person they can cling on to for not only support, advice, suggestions, person one-on-one talks. Once you find that person, 9 times out of 10, that child will be able to better communicate with other individuals. Um, Speaking for my young Black men that I service, one of the situations that came up was, I don't know how to talk to my parents when they're yelling at me. I
Hmm.
don't know how to talk to my parents when they're under the influence. I don't know how to talk to my family about so and so. And I told them, hey, you can talk to me. You can talk to any of the staff here. We're here for you. I'm here to
Hmm.
support you with whatever you need. I'm actually here to help you change your life and to make you want to be a better person for yourself. But it's a
Hmm.
50-50 street. I'm not going to do the 50 if you're not going to do the 50. I will advocate for you. I will show you love, support. I will give you all the tips, tools, and tricks you need to survive and to live out a healthy and honest and a great life. But it comes with that 50-50. You need to be able to meet a child where they're at. You can't be above them, but you can't be below them. You can't belittle them, but you can't feel like they're in charge. You have to meet them where they're at. Say like, okay, son, I see that you're interested in this. Um, how do you feel about it? What can we do together as a team to make this better for you? How can we interact with each other to where we're not screaming at each other? It's
Hmm.
not a one-on-one fight. How do we do these things? And therapy is there, but 9 times out
Yeah.
of 10, I've gone to therapy. I've gone to bad, horrible therapy, and I've gone to great therapy. Um, but me personally, again, I have an 11-year-old nephew, and the way I talk to him is how I talk to my young men. Hey, if you need support, I'm here for you, but you got to come to me for the support. If you don't speak up for yourself, then how am I going to know what you need?
Right.
So I
Right.
always instill that in any young men in front of me, whether they're like 11 all the way up to 24. Like
Yeah.
I make sure my young men know they are supported all the way around, because again, a support system is the foundation, the building block to making sure a young child, and I'm talking your babies, have a
Hmm.
successful livelihood.
That is so good. That's so good. I think, for parents who are out there listening, or even if you don't have a child, you have a nephew, if you're a part of a community, I think it's so important. As you were talking, Robert, about how when you can go to someone who can talk to you, who will listen to you, who will give you good advice. And I was thinking about that, like that person could either be someone who can take you down the right path, but that also could be someone who can take you down the wrong path because they are listening to you and talking to you and supporting you. And so it's really important that you find that person, but also that you steering your kids to find that person that's going down the right path. Communication is so important. It's so key. And I think just in the Black community, that's not what we're kind of known for as parents, right? You can bring them back on so I can see them, please. We're not known for having that type of parenting where you talk to your parents and you communicate and you tell them what you didn't like about what they said or what they did. That's not how you talk to your parents in the Black community, right? But I think that that's part of the problem. Would you agree that that's part, that the way we parent needs to change?
With
Yes, I can definitely agree with that. Not to cut you off, Robert, but I just remember one time when I was about 5 years old. I can never forget. I asked my mom to stop yelling at me. That was like the worst thing I could do. The crazy part about it was she actually told me she would try not to. She was like, "Okay, I'm gonna try to, you know, talk." The next day that was out the door. So it was it was like the communication, and then ever since then it's like me and my mom, like I love her to death, but our communication is just so twisted. It's like it's definitely something that we need to work on, and I'm 21 years old now, and we still have to work on it. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Robert?
I speak for my community. I'm not a young Black boy, but even in the Latinx community, we have to think about this day and age. We're in the 21st century. We are in a new era of children. All these children are learning from all different types of media, from their friends, cohorts, from anyone they can cling on to. So with communication comes a change there. Back then communication was literally face to face. There were no cell phones. You had your mail, you had your little pay phone that you had to walk down to go put your little 25 cent in. But nowadays you can communicate via through a cellular device. And
Yeah.
guess what? If a child doesn't want to talk to you, guess who they'll talk to? Individuals who are either negative or positive, as you were saying, Dr. Donna. And to piggyback off of that, you know, finding positive role models is probably one of the easiest things to do nowadays due to how the way we view our social media and the way we work. We are in literally the technological era. Um, and the way you find positive support role models is kind of just listen to your kids. You tell them, hey, you want to go do it. You want to go to a sports program. You want to join an art program. Hey, why don't we check out this community-based organization? Maybe you can make some money and learn a skill. Maybe you can find peers who like to do what you do. There are a plethora of resources out there for our children now. Back then, there wasn't. It was either the streets or school. There was no in between. You couldn't get a job.
Right.
You couldn't get a job at 13 and a half, 14 years old. Well, I mean, you could, but it was a paper route. And not a lot of people wanted to wake up at 5 a.m. and throw paper everywhere.
That's right. That's right.
But it's crazy to me when I hear my kids, and I'll be frank, they consider me their role model. Like they look at me like, hey, like Robert, we can lean on you. I get calls every single day from them. Like they're like, Robert, how do I fill out a W-2? Robert, how do I do this? But it took a lot of support, trust, love, dedication to these youth. And again, you want to find your positive role models, talk to your kids, but then also figure out what resources are around you that are positive role models. Community-based organizations are one of them. You got the Boys and Girls Club. You got, what Antoine does. You got you got KJ's program. There are so many different outlets for our children nowadays because we figured out, in this age, kind of, hey, maybe we should focus on our kids at a younger age, as you were saying,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Focus on our kids at a younger age and kind of lead them and steer them in a positive direction. But you can't do that all on your own, especially if you're a single mother or single father. You can't do that on your own.
Right.
So I encourage everyone listening, if you have a child, look to your community-based organizations as that extra support. Look to, library programs, look to outdoor ed programs, look toward any type of program for that matter. There are programs out there that will literally pay your child. And I'm speaking literally because we are in my mental health forum. If children or if my men join it, they receive a stipend. I know KJ can speak to his program, but there are programs out there that will literally pay your child to learn a skill.
I love that. That's great. That's great. Okay. Final question is, can you give at least one tip, one concrete tip to us parents, community members out there on if you have someone, a boy who has lost their joy, has lost their way, what tip do you have to help bring them back to restoring their Black boy joy? Do you have one tip? Whoever wants to start. Antoine, you want to go first? I'm going to bring you back, Antoine. Don't worry. We're going to bring you back on so we can have a great conversation. But
I don't know why I'm having so many technical difficulties. Oh my goodness.
That's okay. Do you have a tip for parents or community members on how to bring a boy who might have lost their joy back into having Black boy joy?
Me?
Yep.
Jesus. I know I missed so much of the conversation.
Now think of a tip that had to help prevent the violence that you're seeing out there. What tip would you give to family members or to help prevent them from falling into being involved in violence?
I mean, all I can really say is, maintain being hopeful and patient. With the children, with our neighbors, our community, our youngsters that's around, is being patient. That with the more of our investment that we give into them, that they'll eventually see what it is that they need to be doing. Have an idea of what it is that they're supposed to be, their purpose is. You know what I'm saying, as far as life,
Yeah.
and which takes patience, because I feel as though a lot of us, even as adults, had to go through a journey in order to see where we're supposed to be, and
Yeah.
so us just recognizing that we had to go through that as well, and having that same patience and hopes that we don't lose them before it gets there, before they
Yeah.
before they reach that place of education, that they have that opportunity of being a changed individual. Yeah. So
Okay. I hear that. Don't give up. Don't give up on your children. Keep being patient and keep pushing.
yes.
All right. KJ or Robert?
So I can say that for myself, I know when I lost my joy being a Black man, it took me to really love myself. So I know it's hard as a parent because you can lead the horse to the water. That's not necessarily mean the horses will drink the water. So it's like one of those
Yeah.
things where you try your best, and depression is really hard. So to me, I feel like just trying to find that love for yourself again is trying to find, you know, the self talk is there. You gotta encourage your kids to talk positive, because it all begins inside your head. So it's like that self talk is very important. So just teaching your kids like to be your own biggest motivation.
Yeah.
To love yourself is definitely important.
I love that, KJ. So don't give up on your kids and teach your kids how to love themselves, because that's the biggest person that they talk to every day, all day is self-talk. That's really great. Thank you, KJ. Robert.
All right, I kind of want everyone just to think for a second, right? And this is my tip. When someone comes up to you and says, and I'm speaking for adults here, all the way up until their elders. When someone comes up to you and says, "You did a great job. Keep going. You can do this. I see you're struggling. I'm here for you, but you got this. You're an amazing young person. You got your whole life ahead of you, but I'm here for you. If we have to handhold a little bit, and I have to help you and guide you, I will." Now, my tip is reaffirming your children, your peers, your supporters, your coworker, anyone around you. Reaffirmation is one of the biggest key roles in making sure your children feel wanted, respected, loved, right? That goes into loving yourself. And that also goes into, what Mr. Antoine said. It all starts with, you know, the prevention. And that prevention is making sure your child knows that they are cared for, they are loved, and that they know that they're succeeding. We talk about triumphs. That's one of your key points, Dr. Donna.
Yes.
Making sure that they know that they're succeeding. Because if they don't feel like they're succeeding, then what are they there for? When I felt like I was failing, I didn't want to do anything. I'm not a black boy. I'm a Latin boy, but I still lost my joy.
Yes, yes.
I was in a rut. I was like in survival mode, kind of fighting the streets here. And I was like, what do I do? How do I move? Where do I go? And it took for my support system to be like, Robert, you're okay. You're fine. You got this. Just keep going. We're here for you, and we'll still be here for you. But you got to get out of this rut. So reaffirmation. And another big one is making sure your children have a structure from the day they are born to the day they leave you. A foundation and a structure is what builds around that young person. And it doesn't have to be necessarily the family, the parents, the peers. It can be, again, just any type of support that they deem worthy. Because if a young person feels like you're worthy of their time and you're worthy of their words, you will get results that will impact them in a positive way, in a very distinctive way that you will see change in your child. But it all starts with reaffirmation.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Be patient. Don't give up on your kids. Teach them how to love themselves, and then reaffirm their value and their worth, and that they are succeeding no matter what situation they're in right now. Let them know you can move on. Oh my gosh, I could talk to you guys all night. This has been such a great conversation. Thank you to the three of you for sharing your stories, for sharing your experience, and really helping us to talk about our young teens and our young adults and how to have challenges, their triumphs, and advocacy to help them keep and maintain their black boy joy. And Robert, it's okay that you're not a black boy. I think that I'm Latin sometimes, so it's all good. We're all in this together. So thank you so much to the three of you for being on tonight. Antoine, I'm going to get you back on another night so we can chat. And just thank you for being open and willing to talk to us tonight. So I'm going to let you guys sign off. And we're going to just really quickly, everybody, we're going to talk a little bit about two things you need to know for this week, two really important features for this week. Number one thing that you need to know tomorrow, February 4th, is Go Red for Women Day. It's our Heart Disease Awareness Day. Now, you probably remember a few episodes past, I talked about the number one killer of men and women, black men and black women, number one killer, heart disease. Tomorrow, Friday, wear red in awareness for Go Red for Women Day. Remember, women experience heart attacks differently from men. So make sure that you see your doctor, that you are checking your blood pressure if you have blood pressure issues, checking your cholesterol, and that you are just aware of the symptoms for women for heart disease and for men for heart disease. But we're going to shine a light on heart disease for women tomorrow. So wear red in support of Heart Disease Awareness Day for women. The second thing that you need to know for this week is that vaccines for our 6-month-old to 4 years is here. Pfizer asked for emergency authorization for the vaccine for 6 months old to 4-year-old children. It's going to go to the FDA for approval in February the 15th, and then from the FDA it goes to the CDC, and then if it's approved, we should have the vaccine in probably less than a month. So you want to think about your kids 6 months to 4 years old. We haven't seen all of the data yet. Of course, once I see it, analyze it, you know we're going to talk about it. But again, kids are making up about 20 to 30% of total new cases of coronavirus. About 11 million children have had tested positive for coronavirus. So yes, it's important. Yes, it's impacting our kids. We'll talk more about it. But those are the two things that you need to know for this week. And then finally, this is a new month. It's February, and we have a new food of the month. We had a great time with apples last month and our apple recipes. And this month, our food of the month is beans. Boop, 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 beans. And I know you guys might be saying, beans, oh my goodness. So many different beans. Why beans on Black History Month? Well, because it was brought to the Americas from ancient Egypt. We're the first ones to kind of use beans. And then it was brought over with slaves into the Americas by Africans. So wanted to make sure we recognize that. What are some of the goodness of beans? So beans are in the family of legumes. It includes peanuts. I know you thought peanuts was a nut. I had to let my husband know that peanuts are not nuts. They're actually beans. Peas, like black-eyed peas, and then of course beans like black beans, navy beans, are all part of the bean family. Why are beans good for you? High in protein, high in fiber, high in irons. They're antioxidants. They help to decrease the risk of heart disease. Hey, go red tomorrow. Decrease risk of heart disease, decrease risk of cancer, decrease risk of diabetes, all because it is a healthy food. You know, 1 cup of black beans has almost 15 grams of protein. That's going to keep you full, and it's going to help your body. It also helps to save your gut. It helps to restore the good bacteria in your gut, and it helps to heal the lining of your gut that might have been kind of holes poked in it by some of the other foods that we eat. So something called the leaky gut syndrome. We're going to bring Dr. Peterson back later on to talk about that, but beans help you, okay? So that's our food of the month, beans. I want to see those recipes on all of my channels, on all the different types of ways that you are going to eat beans this month. And let's just keep it going, okay? And the more we know, the better we eat, the healthier we're going to be, not just for this generation, but successive generations. I see you, Victoria Coleman, bean pie. Yes, that counts too. All right, so once again, happy Black History Month. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Talking with Dr. Donna. Thank you to my guests for part 2 of Black Boy Joy. We're going to talk about Black Men Joy before this month is over. So we're going to take it all the way up through adulthood. So stay tuned. Again, you have an appointment every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. with the doctor. Don't miss your appointment. Thank you once again for joining in. Go on over to YouTube, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell icon, and that way you'll know when I go live. Until I see you again next week, be safe, take good care of yourself and your loved ones. Bye-bye. If you have a question for Dr. Donna, please do leave it on my page and I will be happy to answer the question for you.